Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So in front of us is the all-new 5th generation 2023 Lexus RX350h. This trim level is the luxury, and we'll go over the MSRP once we go over all the specs and features and get this all-new SUV out on the road. So we are going to start off with what powers this hybrid model. This has the 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engine. It's also paired to 3 electric motors and the CVT transmission, pumping out 245 horsepower and 233 pound-feet of torque. This weighs in right around 4,400 pounds. It'll do 0 to 60 in just over 7 seconds, and it has a top speed of 124. Now, as far as fuel economy goes, this gets right around 37 miles to the gallon in the city, 34 miles per gallon on the highway, and then it has a total range of 40 miles just on that electric capabilities by itself. Now, this is not a plug-in hybrid, so of course the engine will do the charging, and that's why the electric range is not as high as a plug-in hybrid would be. Let's move on to the exterior styling now, where this still retains that hourglass design for the grille. However, it's much more subtle than previous models. It doesn't have that entire surround as one continuous piece. So you can see the bodywork here kind of hides it a little bit more. There's a zigzag pattern. Honestly, I think it looks a lot better. It's a lot more integrated into this front end, so it doesn't stick out like a massive hourglass design. But it still retains the Lexus badge, which is the forward sensor. There's a camera, parking sensors, even the LED lighting. So headlights, DRLs, turn signals, fog lights as well. And we still have the lines coming down the upper section, which I'll call it the mini nose for this. Slightly different design, but it still retains a similar design to the outgoing model. I think it looks very, very nice. This model is also finished off in the Nori Green Pearl, which is a deep green, which has a good design. It matches nicely with these 21-inch wheels. This has more chrome surrounding the windows. It's on the side mirrors too, which also have the turn signal and a camera, full panoramic sunroof, and some nice subtle lines running down the side. So just like the front, everything flows very nicely. It's all integrated together very nicely. Fender arches are body colored as well. There's some more chrome that you can see coming to the back glass, where this has a pretty steep rake to it. There's no wiper blade because of that angle. This has a body colored spoiler, integrated third brake light there, a backup camera with the full LED bar that runs right through that power liftgate. Of course, it has the LED taillights too, and this can tow right around 3,500 pounds, which surprisingly is pretty capable for a hybrid like this. Now, as we work our way to the cargo space, I can use the button on the key fob, I can use the button just above the license plate, or use my foot like I just did, so it has the hands-free option. Now, the RX350 is no longer, as of now, has the third row available, so this is just a 2-row vehicle. You have plenty of space with those back seats up though. There's a 12-volt, tie-down hooks, a little bit of storage underneath the floor. It's mainly for the spare tire. And you can also fold down these back seats, but unfortunately it's a pretty slow process. It's nice that you can fold them down. I wish it was a little bit faster, but there we go. They are down, and you don't have to push on these or hold on those buttons. You just have to push them for them to go back up. So you have a lot of space, which is nice to see. And then we have the buttons up top, just like every other power liftgate. Now, you can also lock and unlock this using the back door handles, which all you have to do is push the button on the back side, so the door handle doesn't separate like in every other vehicle. So just push on that, and there we go. Now we have the two-tone design for this door panel. We have the Mark Levinson audio sound system. For the electronic release in order to get out, if that fails for whatever reason, simply pull it in the opposite direction twice, and you can manually exit. Now, you can also fold these seats down using these controls here. I'm not going to put them all the way down, but just to show you, you can even recline them too, which is nice. And at 5'10", I have plenty of space. There's storage pockets. These are heated and ventilated. There's auxiliaries too. And right in the middle, we have the armrest as well as cup holders. So you can use those as needed, and you can even fold down this middle seat independently if you need a little bit more space. You can also see how much further back you can recline this which is nice. We have the full sunroof too, and the adjustable sunshade, so you can use that as needed. Now the front door panel, just like the rear, has all the window adjustments though, power folding side mirror adjustments, and the rest of it is the same design. All of the automatic adjustments are down on the side, and this even has a two-tone look to it with the leather and the suede inserts, which is very nice. Again, very subtle, just like the exterior styling. Now the steering wheel is solid leather with the wood trim accents. It does offer paddle shifters, even though this is a CVT transmission. Well, let's fire it up right now, and we can go through the new infotainment system as well as this gauge setup. So what I like though about the controls on the steering wheel, you can't actually see what they are unless you look up at the head-up display. It might be a little bit hard to see from this camera angle, so check out the full detailed review to see that. But right now, if I hover my fingers on these three controls and I look at the head-up display, if I push this down, that is for the different modes for the adaptive cruise, whether you want that normal cruise control or you want the adaptive. And then if I push on the left one, this is for the distance pacing. You do have buttons to start the cruise control, so you can have the on or off, of course, and then you have the lane keeping assist. Now, if I push on this large button at the bottom, that now changes all four of these controls, where I have display on left and right, and then I can adjust the head-up display up or down. So with the display buttons now, I can go through all this information within the center infotainment system, or the gauge cluster here, to look at all this various information, even a G-force meter, a blank page, there's the adaptive cruise, and then back to all these averages. So it's nice, just depending on what you need to use, of course. On this left side, we have volume, and then we have the same setup for these buttons. So currently I have tuning going left and right, and then Bluetooth and voice commands. If I push to shift this, now we have audio, tuning in different modes, so you can get into AM, FM, and everything like that. Staring right at us is the sensor, so that's going to tell you if you are not paying attention that, of course, you need to look at where you are going. Now on this left side, a little bit of storage. There's the fuel cap release, as well as the liftgate, all of the memory seating adjustments, and then we have the all-new infotainment system. Now on this left side, this is all fixed information, as well as this lower section here for all of these climates. So you're really just looking at this upper 3/4 basically of this screen to go through this information. Now I will say there's not a ton of information. Lexus is a little bit behind on some of the tech features and what they're incorporating, which is why 2023 we finally have a nice screen setup like this. So there's not a lot to go through, but also people looking to buy a Lexus don't need a million different items. I personally love the size of the screen. I love how it's integrated into the dash. Yes, it doesn't have a lot of tech, but it gives you everything that you need to drive this on a daily basis. Now in the lower section, heated and ventilated seats, heated steering wheel. You can go into the climates just to get through some more of those settings, fan speed, temperature dials. So like I said, it gives you everything that you need. Power and volume for the radio is in the middle there, along with some defrosters on both sides. And then this even has parallel parking, so you can use it as needed. And we even have the view button. This is not new from Lexus, but basically if I hopped into the car and I had no idea what was around me, if there were some items close by, it gives you that 360 view. Now in order to go through the rest of the cameras, I will put this into reverse. And now you can see the top-down view with that backup camera. I can go into drive, and you will see the forward-facing angle, of course. To put it into sport mode from drive, just pull it back once. You can go back into drive, and then park is just behind that. Now there's some air vents in the middle, some auxiliaries, a little bit of storage, and then a lot more down below where the wireless charging pad is, even more auxiliaries if you need to use those. There's also two cup holders, and it might be hard to tell right now, but if I push on this cup holder here is going to come up. So if you have some taller drinks, you can put them there and then put it back to normal if you need to. Now behind the shifter, we have traction control, an off-road setting, the auto hold, electronic parking brake, and then the EV mode. So you can use that as needed. And then the center armrest opens up in two directions, which is not new from Lexus. Nice to see that still retained. Plenty of storage in that glove box too. And then this has the full moonroof, like I mentioned earlier. We can open up that sunshade all of the way or close it, of course. And then there's the touch sensitive dome lights up top And for this 23-year model, we finally get the camera system integrated into the rear view mirror. So that gives you a lot more rear-facing visibility, especially if you have passengers or larger items in the back of this SUV. But now let's go ahead and get this out on the road. And with a mild acceleration, here we go. And pedal to the floor, we are up to speed. But for the all-new 5th generation RX350, right around the mid-60 grand mark for this trim level, you could probably get into an RX350 for the mid-40s, high 40s or so. Not going to have quite as much tech, of course, and then you can also go to trim levels higher if you want a little bit more tech. So kind of in the middle here with the hybrid system. I do truly like this. I love all the materials. I like the design of everything. I love the massive size for this screen. It's incorporated very nicely into this dash. And it has some nice materials and features for this style of vehicle. We have the full moonroof. We have the camera system. It's a nice place to be. I like how they've ditched the CD player. They've also ditched that trackpad system to go through everything, and they had that because most of their screens were not touch screen. So it's nice to see the updates for the touchscreen system, a little bit cleaner design down below, and we have a very nice driving vehicle. It's going to be very reliable because it's Lexus Toyota, and I really don't have a lot of major complaints with it. It's a nice vehicle for the price, maybe a little bit high. You get the hybrid system though, so that's something to factor in. But I think it's a really nice vehicle. Plenty of space in the back. I've been driving it, like I said, about a week or so. And I've really had no issues with driving it and using it for the purposes of being a daily driver. So I think that is really nice to see. But I think that's going to wrap it up for this all-new 5th gen for the 2023 Lexus RX350h Luxury. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a huge thumbs up, smash that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.